Hello, and welcome to the Living My Human Design podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Hoover, and I'm so excited that you're here. I have been on a self-healing journey since my early 20s, and when I discovered human design in January of 2021, I felt like I had finally found what I had spent the last 20 years searching for. I believe that if we live as our authentic selves, having forgiveness, compassion, love, and understanding in our hearts, that ripples out and positively impacts everyone we interact with. That is how we have the biggest positive impact on the world. My purpose is to be a beacon of light in the world, attracting those who have broken down, fallen apart, and are stuck under the weight of life, and help them rise up as their true authentic selves. By sharing my human design experiment through this podcast, I hope to encourage others to begin their own healing journey by experimenting with their own human design. Continue listening and join me on this life-changing experiment of self-discovery. Hello and welcome. Today, we are circling back to the head center, and we're going to be focusing on the centers of human design over the next few months. Definition is such an important part of human design. It's where we get our type, our strategy, and our authority. And a lot of times when we come to human design, we are so lit up and excited about this amazing tool that we've just discovered that we really gloss over the type, strategy, authority in our centers and really want to hone in on the gates and the channels which really begin to differentiate us from others. But it's really, really important to take some time to really connect with your defined and undefined centers because they influence your human design a lot. And if you don't already have your human design body graph, you can get it for free from my website. Just go to livingmyhumandesign.com and click on Get My Chart, and you'll be able to enter in your birth details and download your free chart, and then use that to follow along as we learn and experience our head center for the next 30 days. Are samplifying and amplifying. They're sampling and amplifying the energies of others. And these are areas of learning and where we can create deep wisdom, but it's also where we're vulnerable to conditioning. So we will, using the head center as an example again, we will amplify the thoughts and inspirations of the defined head centers that are around us, and we may identify with that as our own energy. And by identifying with that energy as our own, that is how we are conditioned. So by identifying with the energy that our undefined centers take in and amplify is how those centers are conditioned. Now, the mind's role in human design is just as a creative advisor. It is great at thinking and dreaming and making sense of the world around us, but it's not our personal decision maker. Our inner authority is our personal decision maker. And we struggle to accept this role of the mind because society teaches us that we need to, think through our decisions and make logical decisions and weigh the pros and cons and rely heavily on the mind for our decision making, which is not how we're designed to operate. We're designed to operate through our inner authority, whether that is your sacral authority, emotional authority, splenic authority. I've talked about all of the different authorities in another podcast episode as well. So, but our mind is drawn to the exciting and unknown energy of our undefined centers. It thinks that what comes naturally to us is boring, and it thinks that what we are not is exciting and it's really drawn to that. It leads us to chase what we are not, which then leads to our not self of anger, frustration, bitterness, disappointment. I think I got them all. But to the not self of the different types. So the goal of going through these centers, starting with the head center, is to help you recognize when you're being distracted by your openness and help you to lean into your natural strengths. Because at its core, human design is an awareness tool. And the more that we become aware of what is natural to us, the more we can recognize when we step out of that. And then we can see where we've left the road and we can circle back to how we're designed to our unique authenticity. Okay, so the head center. The function of the head center, whether you have it defined or undefined, is a source of mental pressure. We have two different pressure centers in our body graph. We have the head center at the top and the root center at the bottom. And these two centers, we've got pressure coming down from source, and then we've got pressure coming up through Gaia into the root. And this pushes our energy through our body graph. And its goal is to get to the throat for expression. So whether you have it defined or undefined, the head center is a source of mental pressure, and it's experienced as inspiration. It's the drive to find meaning in the world. It fuels our thinking, our questioning, and our analysis. But it's just mental pressure. It's not connected to a motor, so there's no energy for action here. It's just thought energy. So if you have a defined head center, which only 30% of the global population has a defined head center, then you have a direct connection to Gus, to God, universe, or source. You have a consistent mental pressure, a constant hum of inspiration and questioning. And this pressure is comfortable for you. You are you may not even be aware of this pressure. It just feels so natural and innate to you. And you also have a fixed way of thinking depending upon which gates you have activated in the head center. Some of the potential challenges or pitfalls of having a defined head center is overthinking. You may be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of thinking because your mind is constantly going. It's constantly chewing on something and spinning and making sense of the world. And what happens is when you rely too heavily on the need to have an answer, or you're really pressuring yourself to come up with an answer, it pushes clarity away. But if you just allow your thinking to run kind of in the background, then that clarity, that answer will just drop in naturally. It'll just like, poof, there's the answer. But when you really attached to the need to have the answer, or you're trying to make decisions for your personal life with your mind, then it can lead to anxiety and stress. You may feel like an urgency to come up with an answer, or you may feel really restless. And this can cause headaches. So a lot of times if you have a defined head center and you're suffering from a lot of headaches, maybe look back and see if you're pressuring yourself to come up with an answer, or if you're really being attached to your thinking process instead of just kind of letting it run in the background. And another potential pitfall is just becoming frustrated with the thinking process because the answer isn't coming to you as quickly as you would like it to come. You do think very fast, and probably definitely faster than those with an undefined head center. And so sometimes you may even become impatient with those around you because you're so many steps ahead of them. But the gift of the defined head center is that you have a natural tendency to organize and analyze your thoughts. So your thinking process, you think like in the same manner every time. So it's consistent, it's reliable. You can organize and analyze your thoughts and draw from them easily so that they can be communicated as it gets pressed down through the ajna and out the throat. And you also naturally influence the thinking of others. And you can be a source of profound wisdom, especially if you're following your strategy and authority. So some ways to help manage a defined head center, or just some practical tips, is practice mental self-care, like meditation or mindfulness or spending time in nature are some great ways to kind of let go of the thinking process. And meditation for you will never be a sit in a spot and clear your mind and not think about anything. That is an impossible task for you. So let go of the idea that you need to clear your mind, because your mind's always going to be going, and that's okay. It's not good or it's not bad. And that's the other thing too, like, don't judge your thoughts, observe them without judging them as good or bad, and just allow the thinking process to unfold naturally. Meditation for you may be yoga or breathing meditation or taking a walk in nature and noticing how the air feels on your skin, what the temperature of the air is. What are you hearing in your environment? What is the farthest sound that you can hear away from you? Things to focus on that isn't the mental chatter or the thinking process that's going on in your head. And then it can also be helpful to find healthy outlets for your mental activities, such as journaling or writing stories, or just even writing out your thoughts, following intellectual pursuits, like research the things that interest you, or have conversations with others about the things that you're interested in, or any other creative outlets that you might have. And recognize when you are overthinking and create pattern interrupts for you. So if you see your mind going down a rabbit hole and you start becoming frustrated with your thinking process because the answer won't come to you or won't drop in, then just stop for a minute and go take a walk, or take a break and read a book, or call up your best friend and have a quick chat. Something that you can do to help stop that overthinking process and chasing the answer, because when you stop chasing the answer, that's when the clarity will drop in. Always trust your strategy and authority when it comes to things to think about. Never try and solve your own problems. Your defined head center is a gift for others. And embrace the mystery. Like, just embrace the mystery of thought and the mystery of life, and just let those answers drop in. And some daily journal prompts that you can use for the next 30 days to help you to connect with your defined head center is: what wisdom or insight is trying to emerge today? Am I trying to force any answers, or am I letting them drop in naturally? What are my reoccurring themes or patterns in my thinking today? And am I practicing observing my thoughts without judgment? And I have this great tool on my website. If you go to livingmyhumandesign.com and click on products and tools, I have a report that you can download. It's $5, and it will list all of your defined and undefined centers in your body graph specific to you. It'll tell you the function of that center, the potential pitfalls, what it means to have it defined or undefined, the gifts of the center, some tips for navigating that center, and then a whole bunch more journal prompts that you can use to really deeply connect with the center. And then you can use that as we continue to talk about all of the different centers in human design over the next few months. Okay, so for those with an undefined head center, then you are more sensitive to the mental environment around you. You are absorbing and amplifying the mental energies of others, especially those with a defined head center. And you are designed to sample and reflect back the thinking of others. But because you are sensitive to the mental energy around you, this also makes you susceptible to external influences. It can make it difficult for you to distinguish your thoughts from the thoughts that you're picking up from others. And sometimes you might even struggle to filter and process the mental input that you're taking in. So you may be feeling confused or scattered or pulled in many different directions. And I know that for me, because I have an undefined head center. If I find myself like really going down the rabbit hole of information and needing to have the answers and needing to know the information, that's usually when I'm in the not self of the head center, because I'm not designed to have all the answers. I'm not designed to have all of the information. I recognize those who are inspiring, I recognize those who are inspiring. So another potential pitfall of an undefined head center is you might get caught up in trying to solve other people's problems. So a friend of yours may call you up with an issue that they're having with their significant other, and instead of just listening to them, kind of get this off your chest, you may feel pressure to come up with the answers for how to help them solve this particular issue that they're having with their significant other, which you're not designed to do. It's more about, reflecting the thinking of this person back to them so that they can, kind of help sort it out. And then, an undefined center, another pitfall is like the constant mental chatter or meaningless thought, thinking about things that are not important, such as you may be watching a program on the show, or maybe even you're watching the news, which I highly discourage you from doing. Do not watch the news. That's just nothing ever good comes out of watching the news. But there may be an issue that's on there that makes you start worrying about something that's going on in the world around you. And then you're constantly processing that and trying to find the solution or come up with an answer to global warming or what have you. Another way that this might show up is like you had a conversation with someone and you said something that or I guess like even when I go to record these podcasts, I will kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about, but then I'll get up here and I'll start talking and I get stuck in my head, and then I'm like, this just isn't coming out right. Oh my goodness. That judging myself will come up because there's this thought process that my thinking isn't consistent and reliable. So is everything going to come out correct? Are the people going to resonate with what I have to say? And there's also like a need to search for external validation. So you may come up with an idea or an inspiration that you want to do, and then you go and you start asking other people, like, is this a valid thought? What do you think? Should I go ahead and move forward with that? Where really you need to be trusting your strategy and authority to determine if it's something that you should move forward with. So those are kind of some of the pitfalls, some of the challenges of having an undefined head center. Now, some of the gifts of having an undefined head center is that you are open to inspiration. You're able to process a wide range of ideas, and you're able to access multiple unique perspectives. So you are able to tell who's inspiring. You mirror back and clarify the thoughts and the ideas of others. You can tell which inspirations are truly valuable and which are just simply mental noise. And because you're undefined, you have a potential for greater objectivity because you're not as identified with one particular school of thought. You can see things from multiple different perspectives. and you can adapt to different mental environments. You can shift your thinking and your perspective based on the environment that you're in. So when you're around people who are really logical thinkers, then you can experience logical thought. When you're around people who are very creative thinkers, then you can experience more creative thought. So you're able to experience all these different ways of thinking. And you can appreciate the unknown. Like, it's really important to kind of let go of the need to have all of the answers and just be comfortable with not having all the answers and being able to find the beauty and the depth in the mysteries of life. So some tips for those with an undefined head center: be mindful of your environment. Avoid the people or the situations that leave you feeling confused. If you're around people who constantly make you feel confused or scattered, or you're in an environment where you feel scattered, maybe that's not the right environment for you. And experiment with stepping out of that environment for a while. Practice detachment from your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Observe your thoughts without judgment. And it's really important to schedule regular time for quiet reflection and solitude so that you can clear your mind of the influence of your external environment and that external mental pressure. And I can tell you that I am probably one of my biggest sources of mental pressure. Like, I put a lot of mental pressure on myself. So spending time in meditation and releasing that thought is one way that I use to help to let go of that mental pressure. And trust your strategy and authority when it comes to making decisions. Don't make decisions based on pressure. If you feel like you're being pressured to come up with an answer, that's a sign that you're in your not self, and kind of take a step back. If you can, be in your own aura and kind of let that pressure go. Like, I like to let it flow down through my body, out of my feet, and into the ground. Recognize that you are absorbing the thoughts of others, and pay attention to when you start to feel overwhelmed by thoughts that don't seem to be your own. So again, you can kind of step out of that and let them pass through you. Embrace the unknown. Be comfortable with not having all the answers. You're not designed to. And appreciate the mysteries of life and allow the clarity to emerge on its own time. And regularly check in with yourself. How are you feeling mentally? Are you feeling balanced and centered, or are you feeling overwhelmed and scattered? And again, if you're feeling that overwhelmed and that scattered, take a step back and ask yourself some of these reflection questions, like, am I trying to solve other people's problems or answer their questions? Am I feeling pressured to think or believe a certain way? Am I getting caught up in trying to please others or meet their expectations? Am I getting lost in mental chatter and losing sight of what's truly important? Am I feeling disconnected from my own inner knowing and intuition? How am I feeling right now? Am I balanced and centered? Are my thoughts my own, or have I absorbed them from someone else? And I encourage you to spend some time with your head center over the next 30 days. Pay attention to, when those feelings of pressure or scatteredness pop up. What's going on? What was happening right before you started to feel that way? And really connect with those triggers. If you have a defined head center, pay attention to when you're becoming frustrated with that thinking process. Are you trying to force answers? And the more that you can connect with this center and know, what's truly yours and what's not, then it just kind of becomes natural. And then you can just kind of laugh it off like, oh, there I go again. I'm overthinking this particular issue. This is not mine. I'm going to let it go now. And again, I highly recommend this Unveiling Your Centers report that I have on my website. It's going to give you very detailed information about your defined and undefined centers and the journaling questions that you can do to reflect back, because really reflection is a powerful tool and awareness is a powerful tool. So if we can connect with these centers and kind of look back on them throughout our day, like at the end of the day, look back, answer these questions, and it'll help you really connect with that center so that it becomes more natural and more innate. And once you become really comfortable with your authentic energy as far as definition goes, then it'll be easier to dive into that next level of your human design, that next level of differentiation, which is your gates and your channels. So check out that resource. It's going to be a really powerful tool. And then connect with me on Instagram. I'm at living-my-human-design. And I am going to be sharing my personal head experiment throughout the week. And if anything pops up for a next podcast episode, or if I'm experiencing something that I would like to share with you guys, then I will drop another podcast episode. But I'd love to hear how your experiment is going. So connect with me on Instagram. Let me know what you thought about this Head Center podcast. And we'll connect soon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening all the way to the end of the podcast. If you like what you've heard here today, please take a moment to leave a review. Don't forget to subscribe so that you're notified when the next episode is released. If you have any questions, please connect with me on social media. The links are down below in the show notes. Don't forget you can get your free human design chart at my website, livingmyhumandesign.com. And if you'd like to have me unpack your chart with you, you can also schedule an unpack at my website, and there are 3 options to choose from. That website address again is livingmyhumandesign.com. If you'd like to learn more about human design at your own pace, I highly recommend joining Emma Dunwoody's HDX membership. There are video modules on all parts of human design and tons of bonus materials. This membership also comes with a private Facebook community where you can ask questions and get additional support. I'm one of the guides in this community as well. The links to all of this information are down below in the show notes. Thank you again for listening. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll talk with you soon.